What's up, guys? Hopefully the AC isn't too loud in here. And we're going to be talking today about the fact that everything is working in your favor if you decide that it is. See, that statement right there is an affirmation, right? Everything is working in my favor. You've probably seen it on affirmation tips. You probably read it in a book or just seen it online before. And to get like technical with it, if you want to use the affirmation terminology, it's a blanket affirmation, an umbrella affirmation. So that means it's an overarching statement that is really not about any area specifically. It's more having to do with yourself and more having to do with your reality. You're claiming this fact that regardless of what's going on in my 3D, in my external circumstances, it's working in my favor. It's working for me, for my desired ends, for my best benefit, for my greatest outcomes. And when you see, the thing that's so amazing about these affirmations, and a lot of people will ask me affirmations about, oh, well, I affirmed for this situation or for their SP or whatever. And those work. I'm not saying that they don't work. Clearly, you get a lot of people that have had success from using that. What I find, however, though, is these blanket affirmations, like another one of my favorites you guys have heard me say before is everybody loves me. And this works like a charm. Like anytime I go anywhere, and because I have this phrase and it's become an embodied thing on an identity level. I'm like, everybody loves me. Everybody loves giving me free stuff everywhere I go. Everyone just responds positively to me, right? Everyone just wants to give me great service. You know, I've given those examples and those different things. And the really, really interesting examples that have come up from doing that, I gave in a recent video when I was in Napa Valley. Bridge of events, bridge of circumstances, went to this one place, didn't like it, went to another place, explored, got recommended another place, went to have lunch. The waiter there, we had been looking at this one place, which is like, which was the nicest venue, in my opinion, in all of Napa Valley to go to have wine tasting and stuff and to eat with the view and the architecture and everything and the experience. But when we looked it up, it was like you can only book this place weeks in advance. It was like everybody, when we looked it up and we called, they said, oh yeah, sorry, you know, this place is like, it's booked. Usually you have to book a few weeks in advance. But so when we were having lunch at this place, our waiter was like, oh, I'm really good friends with the manager there. Let me just call him. And he calls us, sets us up with a VIP table there at a discounted rate, like the best table in the entire place. And it all happened through this bridge of events, right? It all unfolded. But why? Because for whatever reason, I've adopted this belief. And I'm telling you guys this because I want to be able to copy and paste this into other areas of life, because for whatever reason, I've become very detached. Because even when I got the initial bad service at this one place, and I was kind of like pissed, to be honest. But my identity being so strong, that overarching, see, what you do when you create this, everything's working in my favor, or everything always works out for me, or everyone always loves me, I always get great service, is that even when you get counter evidence to that, so like in this case, we went to this one spot and it wasn't a good experience. They sat us like in front of this bush. They ended up refunding the money. But because that identity, on an identity level, it's so strong that I always get treated well everywhere that I go. I always get great service. I always get free stuff. It led across this bridge of events to go to this other place and this other place. And that led us to get this great service, to get this discounted thing at this place that was very exclusive, I guess, where normally you couldn't get there unless you booked it weeks in advance. So that's just an interesting example, right? Another example, right now, I'm back at my dad's house, and I got back home, and found out he let me know, he's like, I turned off the internet. And I was like, really? Like, because he hasn't been using it. And there was like a little bit of like, okay, really? Like, but then I was like, you know what? If I really need to use my computer, I can use my phone as a hotspot, whatever. And actually, it's actually been nice not having cable. It's been nice not having Netflix, because I don't even want to watch Netflix, to be honest with you. What I've been doing instead is I've been doing more research. I've been doing some reading, some meditating, and looking into different things, looking into active imagination and different types of ways that you can work with the subconscious mind. But all of these things to really say that as soon as you get that burst, or as soon as you get that emotional trigger that's like, this isn't going the way that I wanted it to, this isn't going how I expected it, when you really identify on an identity-based level with this, in this case, we're talking about everything is working in my favor. If you really do start to believe that and to know that, then you're going to just start working with whatever's showing up instead of working against it, instead of battling against these things and creating more resistance, because that creates the inner resistance. What we want is we want to be like to be like Bruce Lee with reality. We want to be like water with reality. And we want to kind of allow the circumstances that are arising to then guide us to the next decision, the next logical conclusion, to follow the barely perceptible nudges that we're getting from reality. Because then reality, that's what's showing us our next step in the path on how to actually get there. Because we can never know. We can never know. It's not for us to know exactly every single thing that's going to lead there. It does help to plan sometimes, and it does help to put that out there. It can. But in a lot of these cases, you don't really know how things are going to unfold. And so when you embrace this, when you embrace this idea, this concept that things are working out for you, things are working in your favor, that your world is taking care of you, that the universe is taking care of you, that you are being guided, everything starts to filter. What you've done basically is like, that's a filter. Like, think about a camera, and you've like selected, instead of like other filters, there's like another filter that's like, oh, why do I have bad luck in relationships? That's another filter. Or there's a filter that's like, why are things always tougher for me than other people, right? These are negative filters that a lot of us unconsciously, it's like we have our camera, our lens, our projector, that which we're looking through reality, and we're unconsciously putting these filters on. So it's like when you get rid of that, get rid of those faulty filters that you don't want, and put this filter that everything's always working out in my best interest, everything's always working in my favor, it automatically dissipates all of those resistant feelings. And because even when you see those things aren't working out, you just remember, oh yeah, well, you know what? I still got it. I still got this. My SP ignored me in my dream. Well, it's just more evidence that they're just playing hard to get. They just want it. It's my dreams showed me the SP, because that means that there's movement happening. Something's happening in my favor. And if not him, then someone better. If not her, then someone better. Like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be so attached to one thing. You can if you really, 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 really want that particular person. I'm just giving you guys my insights, the way that I handle this, because a lot of the times, I think that people and nowadays people just get very attached to this one person, or this one. And again, I think a lot of the times when you are open to receiving, when you're in that receptive mode, you might even realize, and when you have that really, really good, strong sense of self and that strong self-concept, you might realize, actually, this person, the way they were acting, hot and cold and all this, isn't even really what I want. I actually deserve something better anyways, right? So just being open-minded to receiving positivity, and knowing that when everything's working in your favor, that things are going to work out for you. And it could be with this person, it could be with somebody better. That's the way that I look at it. But the way that I would adopt this going forward is like, when you run into something that gets you into that resistance mode, it gets you into that, like one example was working on this house. I've been working on this house. People weren't getting back to me. There's been tons of delays. Well, how is this working in my favor? Well, Actually, now I've been able to stay at a bunch of different places. Now I'm back home visiting family. Now I actually have the chance to, and the people, I have a better opportunity to make sure that everything goes really, really well and really smoothly, because now they have more time to complete the project. Every single thing, reality has a duality. There's two sides. So every single thing can be interpreted through a positive perspective or through a negative perspective. Even a breakup, even certain things, of course, are going to cause for a grieving process. But really, really, we have that power. We become so inundated with all this, like putting labels on things, like, I have depression and I have this and I have that. Maybe you do. Clinically, if you go to, a psychologist, somebody that's trained, we don't really know all that much about these chemicals in the mind. We're still learning tons of stuff. Science is still barely in the course of human history, it's been barely a blink of an eye that we've even realized what atoms are, or even the fact that that how to even use a lot of things. Like the internet is brand new. Like all these technologies, we still don't even really, science still is catching up and can't prove a lot of stuff. We still don't understand how human consciousness really truly works. A lot of spiritual teachings are actually more a lot of science is catching up to spiritual teachings because they can't prove it. And what they can't prove, they science is so much based on the ego, really, that it has to be what they can't understand. They want to debunk it or say that it's not true or it's not real. How is it that every single time on a moment-to-moment basis you are claiming your authority over your reality? Think about that. Because every single time that you express resistance, that you express disdain, one powerful exercise that you can do too is just to simply praise things. When you think about just praising everything, even the things that look bad in your reality, now you're creating this space, this willingness, which is higher up on that scale, where you can actually bring things into, because you're not operating in those lower frequencies, which are harder to create from. When you're in that state of resistance, you really can't create, because you're harboring this low frequency energy, and that's kind of creating more of the same. Again, there's a lot of paradoxes with this. Some people are able to manifest certain things even being in a low state, but you got to ask yourself, why is it that you're in a low state? It's because you have some sort of resistance going on. And when you lessen that resistance by simply claiming that everything is working out to your ideal end, everything is working out for your best interest, and really just having the authority over your reality, rather than waiting for your reality to show up with something where you can feel good, you start to feel good within, that this is going to happen. There's a lot of things in life that you just know it's going to happen, right? You know that your paycheck's going to come in on the certain day of the month. You know that you're going to pick up, drop something off. You know that you are, certain job interviews that you've been in, you just have this sense of knowing I'm going to get this job. This is going to happen, right? So how can you just copy paste that onto the thing that you're trying to do? Easier said than done, but this helps. Knowing that, look, all of this is actually working out towards my benefit. That developing that sense of knowing is really what this is all about. So the closer that you get to that, and the more that you use these tools by gently getting yourself to there, the better off the quicker and the better that your results are gonna be. So every single thing that is going right, adopt that. Every single thing that is going wrong, adopt that. Transmute all of it so that it's all leading you to your perfect end. Take all of it as evidence that you know that you're getting what you want. There's every single time, there's a way to shift your perspective. right now I'm driving this Audi Q7, and I've actually really been appreciating it. It drives like a dream, but was having some issues in the shop, and so we took it in. My dad was thinking about selling it, but it ended up being that my stepmom got a different car because she was driving this before, and now we have this over here, and now I'm driving this. So that was like a negative thing, but now it's awesome because now I get to drive this, and I love this car. This car is just like a pleasure to drive. I love SUVs, and I love, like, this car is it really, you feel like the connection to the road while you're driving it. The Q8, the Q7, such a dream to drive. Same with the Porsche Macan, but the Porsche Macan is smaller, and that's what's so nice about this, is you're high up off the ground, and you just feel that clean connection with the road while you're driving. The handling is just so beautiful. It's a beautiful car. It's a beautifully designed car. So I'm appreciating driving this. Anything that's in your life, that's in your current reality, appreciate it. Let it serve as evidence that you are in that state, that you are that version of yourself, that you are getting pulled closer and closer to your end. And then when you're doing that, I've been getting to these meditations, and it's just like the visualization. When you get into your meditation and you just allow the images to flow, that can be really nice too. Because it's like, and like I've told you guys in a recent video, I've been doing dream recall, and so now I'm remembering my dreams, and that's also really nice as well, because now I'm like, when you begin to remember your dreams, it's like you have all this other information that's happening, that your subconscious, that you are experiencing, because your brain can't tell the difference between a vivid visualization and a real life experience. And so when you begin to do that and really remember your dreams, and then even begin to influence the dreams in a positive manner, lucid dreaming, that can be very powerful as well, because now you're able to practice that intention, practice that knowing it into being. But there's so much that can be said about this. It's really just comes down to you just making that decision, claiming it, deciding it, that this is working out for me, not that this is serving as evidence towards something that I don't want. That every single thing that's happening in my world is serving as evidence that I am this, that this is happening for me. Claiming your power, that dominion type of thinking, mental domination over your reality. I have other success stories that I could share. It's just like they're all popping into my head right now. Every time I ever get any doubts, and like, oh, does this, is this working? These stories pop into my head, these success stories, and I'm just like, yeah, I've done this so many times in my life that there's really no need for me to question this. There really is no need to question this. We know that it works. It's a matter of applying it. It's a matter of using it. So think about that. How are you taking anything that is popping up and using your awareness to claim it into being, that this is actually serving me, this is actually getting me closer and closer to what I want? It's actually working in my favor. Anyways, guys, much love as always. Drop this video with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.